Turn around and deedle deedle dee 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 dee. Long live Lamar. No? No. All right. Well, hello and welcome back to the Yesteryear Podcast. I'm your host, James. And of course, I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Beth. How are you doing this week, Beth?
Doing all right.
Yeah, just all right? All right.
Yep.
Yep. All right, this week we are doing the NeverEnding story, as some of you may have recognized from the song. So this is one of my initial picks for the review for the podcast that we did, and I'm really excited to be finally doing it this week. So, Beth, what was your initial impressions of the movie?
Bad.
Bad?
Yeah. Bad.
Oh, no. Were you excited at all about watching it?
No.
Ah,
I didn't want to watch this one.
really? What were your thoughts on the film trailer?
I mean the trailer itself. I mean about 21 seconds in, you already know that there's a boy. He's in a book. Has at first I thought mystical powers, but I guess not. And then I mean it looks kind of interesting. The trailer alone gave me a mix of like Labyrinth and Narnia vibes.
Okay.
Because at first I thought it was going to be a movie about like the boy gets transported into the book, but that's not the case. So I was kind of disappointed.
So you thought Bastien was magical.
I thought the book was magical.
The book is magical.
No. Well, I mean, I guess in the sense of what, oh, we know what's going on. No, I thought he was going to be the person in the book. The warrior.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So kind of like transported him in there.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
I was kind of disappointed on that end. But I mean, the trailer was relatively interesting.
Well, that's good. I'll take relatively interesting. Does it get a rating?
3 out of 5.
Wow. That's still pretty high. You're still giving it a pretty good one. So the movie is presented as a troubled boy diving into a wondrous fantasy world through the pages of a mysterious book. That's like the telling of it. It was released July 20th, 1984, and the movie comes to us from West Germany, and is really one of my favorite movies from my childhood. The budget of the film was $27 million, but only grossed around $20 million worldwide, so not too great.
Makes sense.
But I don't base how great a movie is based on what it banked. If we did that, then I don't know. Titanic would be the best movie I've ever. Or what's that other one with the blue people?
Blue people.
Avatar. People love that movie. I've seen it. I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was an okay movie, but not like go crazy over. But whatever. I don't want to trash another movie. So I got to tell you, when this came out, I absolutely went crazy for it. It didn't have anyone in it that was worth mentioning, so I'm really not going to go into the cast.
Well, the kid was Bastien.
Yeah.
He was also in Frankenweenie. We talked about that last episode.
Yes, okay, so there you go. So
fun fact.
I didn't know that.
See, at first I was watching it, and I thought at first he was the boy from Child's Play, so that's why I looked it up, and it said he was in Frankenweenie. Not the kid from Child's Play, though. So, but I thought it was Andy. It's not.
Andy. Poor Andy. That's a whole nother movie in itself, obviously, but poor Andy. This doll is telling me to do things, and it's evil and trying to kill you people. Go lay down, Andy. You're sick.
I'm surprised there's movies when you're favorites like that, just because the kid gets inspired by a book and you don't read. So
it actually scared me. This is why I don't read.
Oh, this is why?
I read up until this point, and then when I saw this movie and what could happen, and I didn't want to be in control of anybody's fate like that. It was too much pressure as a kid. So I said, well, I'm off reading. So, does that make sense?
That's really sad.
So, thanks. So, my most fond memory of this movie is actually the song.
I really like the song as well. I like the song for other reasons, because it's the if you've watched Stranger Things, it's one of the songs that end up coming on later on. It's a scene where they have to sing the song.
Yeah,
that's why I like the song, because it's kind of it's really catchy as well.
It is. It's Lamol, who was the lead singer in Kajagoogoo. Too Shy Shy. Too Shy Shy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hush Hush, I do I. Yeah.
Magic Rainbow.
No Magic Rainbow. So anyway, I remember going on summer vacation to Georgia this year in 1984, and me and my sisters being in the back of this car, and me just belting out this song while listening to it on my Walkman. Yes, a Walkman. And I mean, when I say belting out, like I was belting it out. It was really sad for my sisters who had to sit there and endure me the whole entire time. As for the movie, I was all about it. I was like 6.5 at the time. And it had everything that I could imagine that I wanted. Action, adventure. It was a quick story. It moved. It didn't like bam, 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 movies going. It had friggin' Gmork to scare the heck out of me. I mean, to me, it had everything a kid could want in a movie. I can't say enough good things about it. So, of course, looking back now, it's easy to pick apart. But at the time, its purpose and, I think it's fantastic for its time and everything like that.
That's kind of how I was like before watching the movie. I've never seen this movie. I would come down the stairs and it would be playing on the TV and I would see bits and pieces, and it was always the bits and pieces with that weird dragon dog thing, and I would just take myself back up the stairs and say, nope, I'm not watching this because he is terrifying.
He has a name.
Well, scary dragon thing is what I called him when I was a kid. I guess that's kind of how I meant, like, I wanted to go into this in that same kind of viewing. Like, because I know in the past ones, I've looked at the movies in a way of, like, really judgmentally.
Okay.
Because I'm older, and I pick things apart more. So I really try to look at this one as I looked at it when I was younger.
Yeah.
In a sense, to try and keep that same vibe, so I can understand how you're coming at it more. I don't know. I mean, the trailer was really interesting to a degree, and so jumping into this, I was trying to keep a more positive note.
Okay. What? You said when you came down as a kid that it scared you and you wanted to go back upstairs. You don't want to see it from that point of view, do you?
Well, no. I mean, I was trying to see it from that like innocent point of view, like the more of a like, this is a scary thing to me.
I got you.
I need to watch it. I guess that doesn't make sense. I just wasn't trying to watch it and be like, this doesn't look good and this is bad because of this. I was trying to look at it as like, oh, I'm a kid. Why would this be magical, mystical?
Fresh young mind.
Yeah. Fresh
young mind eyes. I'll take that.
That's what I was trying to do this time around.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm still having relapse from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, so I'll take it.
I've heard multiple people say that after listening to that episode that they don't understand your take on it, saying that you were all crapping on it in the beginning, but throughout the whole episode it was all, oh, this is funny, ha ha ha.
Hold up a second.
And then at the end,
multiple people.
Oh
my gosh.
And then at the end you're all like, 2 out of 5 moons or whatever you gave it.
Yeah.
But
well, it's not one of my favorite.
No, it doesn't have to be a favorite for you to rate it higher than 2 out of 5.
Right, but that's the whole point.
It was a good
this.
movie.
You can see NeverEnding Story. I mean, I don't know what you rated it, and like you had your point of view on it, but it's still a good movie. It may not be your favorite movie, but it's a good movie.
But I would still rate it equally. It's not like I went into this and was like, man, I really just don't. I hate this movie. 1 out of 5 moos. All right. I didn't do that jump off the bat.
That's fair.
So is that what you've been doing?
No.
Is that how you rate these?
No.
That's what you seem to have the judgment.
I rate fair and square as I would.
Fair and square. You're looking pretty round. Oh. My bad. I didn't mean it like that.
Rude.
I didn't mean it like that.
So anyway, we start off with some pretty sweet graphics of what I assume is the sky of Fantasia.
Oh, this was such a long intro.
But it wasn't.
The song's going and it's good. No, it was
We get to listen to Lamal sing the NeverEnding Story off the jump.
It was good for about a minute, and then after 4 minutes,
close your eyes. I mean, right into it. It's like
I was going with it, and then I was like, this is taking a little.
And it's
long.
got the sweet clouds going on, and you're like,
nothing's
man,
going
what's
and
going
taking
on?
everything.
Song's
going on forever.
I thought it was short and sweet, and we get to the
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And we got to the opening scene of a young boy waking up suddenly. Like, at first I thought that was his dream. Like maybe he dreams Lamal singing, which I could I could do. That'd be nice, but no. He then appears downstairs prepping for breakfast, and his father calls him Bastien, so we know this is Bastien, the character.
You know, before we really get into it, I just wanted to say I really appreciate the amount of effort movies put into the child's room, because there's always so much detail in the background that really goes into who the character is. With if the kid's a girl. And it's really a princess kind of movie type deal. The room's always filled with princess stuff, dolls, dollhouses,
I got you.
stuff like that. I mean, this kid had really cool posters. He had books and stuff everywhere
for a 5-second scene.
Yeah, and he was sleeping on a book too. So it just gave you some background on who he was.
Yeah, it did. He woke up and he had a book. I mean, he literally must have fallen asleep. He must have fallen asleep while reading. Yeah, that's kind of what I gave that. So
I really like how movies just do that.
Yeah, nice interjection.
Yeah.
So his father explains, or he calls him over or whatever, and Bastien is telling him that he had another dream about his mother, who is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dad basically has a glum outlook and doesn't really console Bastien very well to me.
Yeah. I mean, imagine waiting 9 months to have a child and then naming him Bastien.
I think maybe it's Sebastian and they nickname him Bastien.
No.
Or maybe his name's just
I also
Bastien.
noticed that none of the cabinets in the kitchen had doorknobs or handles.
I did not notice that. Man, you were really paying attention to a lot more than I was in this movie.
I
was just so excited to be able to watch it
person.
Again. I love this movie. I don't care if they even had cabinets. I would have been happy.
He goes to open the first one from the bottom, and I'm like, okay, weird. And then I really looked at all the other ones because it's all white. They're all white. The whole kitchen's white. And I'm like, oh, there's no handles on any of these.
Well, you know what's funny is that this was filmed in Germany. I assume so because it's from Germany. So maybe they don't have knobs there.
Well, if you're from Germany and your cabinets don't have any handles or knobs, let us know. Write us an email.
At the Yesteryear Podcast @gmail.com. That'd be fantastic.
I'm intrigued.
Me too. Huh, interesting.
And if you are in America and you don't have knobs or handles on your cabinets,
stop listening. No,
yes, go get help.
Yeah.
You psychopath.
How do you open, you Siggy? So the dad gets on to Bastien about his math work and drawing horses, which he says, no, it's unicorns. He's also disappointed about Bastien not trying out for the swim team. He gives him heck about getting his head out of the clouds and stop dreaming. So I think this part was supposed to, because it's kind of alluded to at the end of the movie later, about, I can't dream, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be more impactful, but it's really quick.
It didn't really impact. Now it's this guy's a jerk.
Right, he's just
really getting on his kid for no reason. The kid is literally 8.
He was down on him, but he
mom
also was so nonchalant about it. Hey, I know your mom's dead, and I know you're having bad dreams about her, but you need to do better.
You need to cut it out.
Yeah, it's
college is right around the corner.
It's getting kind of old. It's
real sick of you.
It's
Bastien.
I'm sick of these cabinets. Bastien.
Then he sends the kid to school, which he has to walk by himself in this big city.
Yeah.
I mean, predator alert? I mean, not even worried about taking children.
The dad has a pretty crap talk with him, in my opinion, and then he does.
Yeah, I know people are gonna be like, well, back in my day, I had to walk to the snow in 7 miles. I don't care. That's not. I did
ride my bike to school, but it wasn't. I mean, it was very hometownish in comparison. I mean, I had to cross one road that would be considered a main road, but I sure as heck wasn't walking through what looks like a city.
Yeah, for real.
By myself.
And there's people walking on the streets and everything.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I wouldn't let my kid do that.
Nah. So poor Bastien is tormented by a trio of bullies that demand money from him.
Yeah, he gets jumped right off the bat.
They catch him and throw him in the garbage can.
Give me your money.
So within the first 5 minutes of the movie, we find that this kid's life sucks, basically.
It was really funny, though, because he gets out of the trash can afterwards, and they're like, hey, I didn't tell you to get out of the trash can.
they're waiting around the corner for him. He's like, oh,
jerks.
Man. And then they're like, hey, we didn't say you can get out of the trash can.
It also sounds like the trash, people are around the corner, too. It sounds like there's a big truck
Oh,
during
no.
the scene. I think like if the trash can was coming to pick him up and throw him in, and I was like, okay, say this kid stayed in the trash can. He's like, man, I'm just sick of it. I'm just staying here in the
done.
trash can. And then people come and get him, and then you just throw him in the trash. Those things are dangerous. They have blades in them and such. Those 3 kids would have been murderers.
And this is how Oscar the Grouch was born.
Bastien the Grouch.
Bastien the Grouch.
My mom's dead.
Oh.
Oh.
So, he does get out. He does get chased. He hides in a weird bookstore, which was more like a living room to me than a bookstore.
Yeah, like a hoarder's person house. But
and
this,
he's like, get out of here.
Yeah, this goes into my Predator Alert comment. Like, he goes up and he goes into this place full of books, which would seem nice because, obviously this kid has a thing for books.
Right.
But there's this old man, and he's just like he's just talking to the old man. He's like, "Oh, what's up, old dude? What you reading?" And then gets all up on him.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have been out of that place.
Yeah, the bookstore owner first tells him to get out, but Bastien kind of convinces him that he knows books. He like lists off like, "Hey, I know Indian in the cupboard and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah." And then Bastien is like, "Oh, what book is that?" He's like, get out of here, kid. But he's like, no. He's like, the bookkeeper tells Bastien that, all of his books that he reads are safe. They're safe books. Biscuit's a very safe book. But he tells him that his book is not. This book is not safe. And he tells Bastien that the book is not for Bastien and to go. And then he's like, I'm going to go answer a phone. So
yeah.
I thought that was kind of odd that he was just like, this book is not for you. Hey, kid, I'm going to go ahead and go answer this phone call.
It seemed like it was kind of like he was like testing him. I wish they gave more to this scene because, I mean, Bastien obviously takes the book, he steals it, and he leaves a note. He's like, "Oh, I'll return this later."
Right.
And he leaves. But then they pan back to the old man, and he's like smiling, like, yes.
Yep. Bastien reveals the NeverEnding story under a newspaper. Decides to, I say steal it, but I guess he leaves a note saying I'll return it.
He stole it.
Right, because he doesn't return it.
No.
The bookkeeper seems chill with that and like nods in almost an approving way,
which kind of gave me
it's like
like those vibes where it's like, oh yes, you're destined to do this. You're the chosen one.
I mean, it's his story.
After, I mean, the bookkeeper was reading the book when he came in,
right?
So that means he looked like halfway through it. So like, was that first half like where? Like,
maybe he was just staging it that way, so that way Bastien would. Maybe he wasn't really reading.
But it's the never-ending story. To be fair. Does was there like pre-story before like where Bastien picks up? Like the story is always moving pages wise. Like if you look at life, like we have like say the first page for the bookkeeper was today, and then like 5 years in the future, is like halfway through that book. So then Bastien comes and gets it, and when he picks it up, he would start on 5 years in the future, not that first day. Wouldn't he?
Ah.
Because the never-ending story goes on forever.
That's interesting.
Because, I mean, in that case, then he could have just stopped reading and been like, well, we're going to pause this.
So we cut to Bastien in school carrying the book under his sweater. He looks in on the class he's supposed to be going to, and they're taking a math test, and he's like, nope, and dips upstairs.
Door that has a creepy, like, slot, and it looks more like a jail.
It does. It's all in Germany.
And then he goes into an attic in the school.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't know schools had attics.
He takes the attic key from the broken lockbox and goes into the school attic, which is really creepy.
See, at first I thought he was going to pull like a fire drill. I was reaching in and be like, well, I don't want to go to school today, so everyone's screwed.
Yeah, everybody is. I'm not taking no math test. So I'm not really sure how he knows about this place, but I mean, whatever.
I like to think I mean, he's obviously an outcasted kid.
Yeah. And
he doesn't like school. So I like to think that he was like exploring, or maybe there was a teacher he liked that told him about it.
Yeah. Well, the kids that beat him up, or the bully kids, call him a freak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and he talks about how he's not like other kids. He likes to read and, be nerdy. So I guess if you read, then... See, this is why I didn't read books. Because I was like, no, man, I'm the kid putting you in the trash. I ain't the kid in the trash. Bump that. So, yeah, we did need a place for him to read the book, so I guess the attic, suffices.
And it was one creepy attic. Like, the stuff they had in there, why would you need that for a school?
Yeah. I also guess that for the time, if kids didn't show up for school, no one really cared. I mean, today, if you're
Yeah.
late for school or even think about being late, like 5 minutes later, I'm getting a phone call like, hey, your kid's not in school.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, hey, the truants officers are coming by.
I
Hey.
thought about that.
This kid, he's already late to school. And then he doesn't even show up. And everybody's just kind of like...
I like to think that the dad's a busy person, so he's in work and they couldn't get a hold of him.
But he had just said that he had just gone back to work because he's like, oh, I guess I got to be getting back to work. So I'm thinking that the mom had just recently died. I don't think that she'd been dead for very long.
Yeah. Well, either way, bad parenting.
So what are your thoughts so far on it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a pretty interesting intro. I'm
Yeah.
pretty hooked. I haven't paused or taken away from this yet. I was still watching.
That's good.
Yeah.
For somebody who says that she can't sit still to watch a movie to be sucked
I definitely took a break at some point in this movie.
Well, I mean,
We're
I
not there
understand that.
It's always such a shame because usually, like, with watching these movies, I'll like pause it, but sometimes I don't pause it. So then I'll tune back into it, and I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on. I missed something important. Oh,
Wait, who's the turtle?
Yeah.
What's your name?
no, I was still watching at that point.
Yeah.
That was awful. I didn't like that damn turtle.
So now Bastien's in the attic of the school and begins to read the book. I'm not big on voiceovers type thing like
Was
this.
this a voiceover?
Well, he was reading.
Oh.
So narrative, maybe, I guess
I thought you
could
meant
say.
like they were talking
Oh,
over the actual
no.
movie. Yeah.
No,
I
it was
like-
a little tough to hear him for me.
Yes.
And
I
understand
talk
him.
about that later. Like right at the end, I didn't even hear the name he called out.
And nobody did. I actually had to look it up. I once I knew it, and then I watched the scene.
You could hear it.
I could hear it, but
No,
when
I
I was a
had no
kid, he
idea.
said it. All I hear, I don't want to go too far ahead, but
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
that's what I hear, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the heck name did he yell?
Right.
And until today, I'm going to be honest, I thought that he gave it his mother's name.
He said that he did.
His mother's name was that.
Yeah. He said that's what he said. He's like, well, I wish that I was this person because I know what name I would give it. I'd give it my mom's name. She had such a nice name.
Okay, well, we'll get into that. So you still don't know what it is?
No, I have no idea.
Awesome! I can't wait to tell you
But
because
is it stupid?
I
like
say
the things.
stupid, but it's not what you would think it was. It's very 60s.
I like to think that his mom was like a super imaginative person, like fairy tales and stuff, everything, playing with her kid, really
Yeah.
good up in there. Like that's why he had so many books. And
Well,
that's why
with the
he
name
loved
that
books.
she's got,
I think that's what makes sense.
well, then that makes a lot of sense for
But
what he gives.
I like the when movies do what it's like, but like The Princess Bride, where
Yeah.
they start off where it's like you reading the book and then it's the characters talking. I actually do enjoy that.
Well, I'm not sure if it's because I'm old or just because of sound quality, but I can understand what he was saying when he was in this part.
Oh.
What like
I
So-
understood this one. But I mean, we brought to the first scene of the actually being in the story, and it looks like a Walmart version of Alice in Wonderland crew. I mean, you got the hat guy in the Mad Hatter, but it's like off-brand.
so we open on the story. It's the snail racer and the man that flies a bat.
I got no hate against the snail racer.
They hear a terrible rumble coming and almost get mooshed. And
Yeah,
it's
this
the
was-
rock biter.
Yeah, this was horrifying. This is where me as a kid was like, in the bed. I was upstairs. I was like, oh, that's horrible. And he's like, yeah. Also, if a rock biter eats rocks,
Yeah.
isn't that cannibalism? He's a rock person,
I mean, we're meat. We eat meat.
but it's not more human meat.
No, I don't know what your diet consists of. I mean, the long
Are you
pig.
saying you eat?
No.
I mean, sure to make it sound like you're eating other humans.
No, I'm not eating other humans. Don't you out me on my podcast. How dare you?
All right, we'll just say you're a rock biter.
So luckily the rock biter does see them and he says, can I join you for dinner? I'm not quite sure on the size of these guys. So clearly the rock biter is huge in comparison, but I wasn't sure of the ratio to humans at that point. I think later when in the movie Atreyu runs into the rock biter, and I'm guessing that the snail racer and the bat flyer guy are the same size as Atreyu. So But right off the bat, I wasn't sure exactly how size, because I was thinking snail, little.
Well, I think the snail was just massive.
It was.
Because he got on the snail and was like a horse.
Yeah, it was. It was really fast.
He was really cute.
The rock biter sits and eats rocks while talking to the snail racer and the bat flyer.
And almost killing everybody with the rock bits, too.
It falls on the snail's head, and he's like, oh. So the rock biter goes on to tell about his land disappearing. He tells a tale about the Nothing, calls it the Nothing. Nighthawk, who is the guy that flies the bat, and the snail racer tell the same thing is happening in their lands. And they speak about being on a mission to the Ivory Tower to see the Empress for help. So that kind of gives us a little bit of backstory about what's going on all over the place. So they all decide that they need to get moving to see the Empress. So they all get going. They're like, let's go. And pew. So yeah. I liked it that the rock biter was like, we can't wait for a snail. And he's like, no, this is a racing snail, son.
He sees himself like, yeah. See, I like to think that at this point that maybe the bookkeeper was reading the story of how this little gang, like the racer snail dude, and then the bad people, the guy, and how they maybe like pre-story was like how they met, how they got to that camp, and then the rock dude showing up, and that's just where he happened to.
So he picked up where he left off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or he didn't. I mean, he didn't necessarily pick up where he started at the beginning of the book. I'm just saying. I think that's how the book works.
That's where the. Okay. All right.
I think it's kind of like a treadmill.
Okay. I see what you're saying. That's really imaginative. I like that. I never thought of it like that.
That's just how I think about it.
So then we see that the Nothing is hot on their trail, and there's no time to lose. I don't actually understand also how the Nothing works, because it seems like it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
This was weird to me, because the Nothing is coming, and the screen went from, like, it kept flashing between the Nothing and then the rock biter's face, and it kept getting, like, closer and closer on the rock biter's face, but it was relatively, like, quiet, except for, like, maybe the music was going.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting on my bed, like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable. I don't like this. This is scary.
Nice. So they do reach the Ivory Tower and discuss how beautiful it is, stating that the Empress is their only hope. But the only one that really makes it into the Ivory Tower at that point is Nightwing, or I can't think of. I keep having his name. The guy that flies the bat. And he's looking through one hole, and then the bat's looking through the other hole upside down, which I thought was cute. I thought the bat was cute. I liked him. No?
Bats are kind of ugly.
He had a little pig face. He's like...
Bats are kind of ugly.
Whatever. So, like I said, we find that there's a bunch of other lands that have... From Fantasia. That's what it's called.
Yeah, because you got a bunch of different people creature things.
That have also sent representatives to look for help.
And they're all terrifying as well.
What did you like, the big rock guys with the big giant heads? And the one person had like 3 faces.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I was not enjoying that.
I thought it was cool that
There's
you had all these.
There's a difference between cool and terrifying.
It was a cool cast of characters, man.
It was interesting.
Well, we find out that the Empress has become deathly ill.
Oh no!
And that she is linked to the Nothing for some way. She is dying and cannot save the people from the Nothing. However, the guy that is talking states that there is a warrior named Atreyu that can save them. And he is their only hope.
A cliche.
So help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
You're my only hope.
Get a child is only hope type deal. Yeah. Which didn't make sense to me, because this kid seemed like he could be anybody. Like, it didn't have to be the kid. Like, after we faced the journey, there was a bunch of stuff that he was doing that it could have been anyone.
Okay. That's not a bad thing. Well, but no, it had to be him, because he's the one who had the heart to be able to make it through the swamp, and to be able to not have self-doubt. And
I know, but
I don't think the rock biter was going to do it. He doesn't
fare
well
at
all.
All. It just seemed like his actions and like what he had to go through wasn't anything particularly difficult.
Special to him, you mean? Like like the character could
like have been in Bastien's eye, he was like the warrior that was on like his backpack, and he had like the Indian on the horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it just didn't give me that vibes. It just seemed like this whatever kid who comes from this tribe, and it's got to be him, but he didn't really have a lot of personality to me.
I gotcha. Well, the Empress actually sent for Atreyu specifically, and he arrived. He's only a boy, and first off, dude's like, dub out. This isn't a place for kids, but he's like, I am Atreyu. I'm the only Atreyu that exists. And you sent for me, so if you want me to go, fine. But then they're like, no. Representative is like, no, that's fine. So I'm going to send you on a quest to save the princess, and it's going to be very dangerous. And you can't take any of your weapons or anything like that. I was like, that was why can't he take his weapons? So basically the quest is to save not only the princess, but the entire world of Fantasia. Just a little bit of pressure.
And also, there's a creature of darkness after you.
Well, he doesn't know that at that point.
But I mean, in general, you know.
Right. He does take on the quest and is given the medallion called the Orin, which is the same as on the front of the book, which was pretty cool.
I really like that pattern.
Yes.
The snakes going after one, like eating the snakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
it's never ending.
It's a metaphor too, as well. I think it's what some people use that, where it's like, the snake is chasing after something, or you are chasing after something, but it's pretty much like you're destroying your own self while doing it. I've heard that used before multiple times.
Huh.
So I actually really like this.
That's cool. Well, he's told that it will guide and protect him on his quest, which I thought was pretty cool. So he does get to take that, but no weapons and nothing else. So he sets off on his quest on his horse, and we get a bit of a montage of him riding. Which is classic 80s, which I don't mind. It's just, you get to hear the sweet theme going on throughout it. And he's going through mountains and over prairies and stuff like that. Where he's going, I don't know, but apparently he does. At the same time, elsewhere in Fantasia, a creature of darkness is also beginning his quest.
Yeah.
All you see are the green glowing eyes with a horrible growl while it takes off into the night.
See, to me, I thought this was the dog dragon thing.
I thought it was, when I was a kid, I actually thought it was the Falcor. Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought it was Falcor?
Yeah, that was Falcor.
But its name is Gmork, and it's tracking Atreyu. That's actually what its quest is. So. Yeah,
I just thought this was that thing because obviously I was terrified of it. So I was like, yep.
For good reason.
This is the creature of darkness.
Gmork is scary. I mean, Gmork scared the heck out of me as a kid.
Well, Falcor is what I was talking about.
I know. Falcor, yeah.
He was, no, he was creepy.
All right, I'll give you that. So he has a snack with his horse Artax, and so does Bastien, who's rationing his food because he knows it's going to be a long journey. He's like, no. I
thought it was funny.
Not too much.
I've done that before where I've gotten really into a book, and I'll kind of like do what the book does. Like when I was reading the Maze Runner series, which I loved.
Yeah.
They would have where they're like, oh, well, we have to do this and we can't do that. And I would be like, okay, well, if I was in that situation, this is how it is. It's serious.
I gotcha.
So I like when books are like that interesting enough where you're into it like that.
I did that. Well, apparently Atreyu has been out for weeks during this montage scene that was going on. And I'm still not sure where he is heading and how he knows where to go. But he has no luck when he was going to these places. At least in the movie, it doesn't really say where he's going. So he may have been going around the different lands trying to find stuff out. And that's why, first he's in a prairie and then he's in mountains and he's this, that, and the other.
I actually meant to ask, is this book actually a book?
Yes.
It ended up becoming a book?
It is. It was a book before. This movie's based on a book.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I was curious because
you know what it's called?
NeverEnding.
The NeverEnding story.
I just thought I was curious as if maybe because how some things like in the last Starfighter that wasn't an actual game and stuff like that. So I was curious to see if it was or the Labyrinth, that book.
Okay. So Atreyu goes into the swamps of sadness to find Morla. It's the last place that he's looking because he's gone to all the other lands and talked to, I guess, the elders or the good people. The bad part of the swamp is that if the sadness overtakes you, you sink into the swamp.
Yeah, this was such a I couldn't decide whether I wanted to laugh or cry at the scene because I'm sitting here and he's leading the horse through and then the horse just stops moving.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Apparently the horse is depressed about something.
He's just depressed. I mean, he's just going further and further, and the poor boy is like, "Come on, just move, you dumb horse." Yep.
He sinks and he sinks fast.
Yeah,
man.
he goes, and I was like, dang, he just dies?
Yeah.
What was he sad about?
Artax gives no cares. And I guess Atreyu is pretty broken about it.
Yeah, he seemed deeply upset. I would be too.
He's not sad enough to sink.
Not sad enough to die, yeah.
But Artax was like,
I'm a peace out.
I'm done, and just sinks. And he's just like, no, I'm not going any further. I'm sinking. Sadness has me. What does a horse have to be sad about? So
Maybe he's upset that he was in the mud.
I guess, and he's white.
I'd be
and
pretty
he's in the
sad
mud.
too.
So we're gonna take a moment of silence for Artex the horse.
May he hop in heaven.
Oh, that was
Or gallop.
I said a moment. You gave me a second.
I don't like horses.
All right, so moving on.
Do you like horses?
I like Artex. Your poor mother. She was scarred for life after this.
He didn't have any character to him, though. Just a horse. I wasn't that upset.
I was upset because the horse just got murked
It was
out.
just sad.
There was no
like,
need. Whatever. I guess they had to do away with them, so because you
so
can't
emotional.
you can't have Artex riding around on the back of Falcor. But
That would have been great. You know, I would have liked the movie more.
Atreyu sitting on Artex, sitting on Falcor.
Would he ride it like long ways or sideways?
Long ways. So his feet would be standing.
He would just be standing straight up,
head over head over head. Yes.
Oh, jeez, that doesn't seem very safe.
It's not. That's why they had to kill him.
And horses fall ugly. They fall stiff.
Yes, I've seen that in movies.
I laugh really hard at that.
So Atreyu continues to trance on through the swamp looking for Morla, and almost looks to be giving up when he finds Shell Mountain, which is actually Morla's shell, because Morla is a giant turtle. So Atreyu wakens a very sleepy Morla, and when he does this, Bastien screams, and they are able to hear him, which was pretty weird. Because they look around and like, what the... So Morla describes himself as we when he talks, which is kind of annoying to me.
Is it turtle? I thought is it a girl?
Okay, fine. Girl or guy, I don't know.
I'm
It
pretty sure it's
sounded
a
like
girl.
a guy, but either way.
Sound like a girl.
Also with the sneezing, got a little... I mean, I know that's part
She's
of like...
allergic to humans.
Right. Right.
This turtle was ugly. This would have terrified me.
So, Morla says nothing matters, but tells Atreyu to ask the Southern Oracle how to defeat the Nothing. After going through a long conversation, because Atreyu's like, no, man, if you didn't care, then you wouldn't even be talking to me. So you clearly care about something. So he's like, all right, well, fine. Here, go talk to the Southern Oracle. And we're then startled by a bell ringing. So school is over, and Bastien decides to stay camped out in the attic.
See, I liked that they had the bell ring because I mean, at this point, I had forgotten that he was at school.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to be brought back, and it was cool that he came out to look, and he was like, am I gonna go home?
Yeah.
No.
But the funny thing is, like, when school is out there, it's out. Lights go off, and people do not stick around. Like, by the time he makes it back up to the attic, the lights are turned. I'm like, no janitor, no cleaning, no nothing. They're like, ring, done. Kids out, clearance, lights, going to drink.
He went back up, and it was like a different attic almost. He went through this cage and was locking himself in, and it was because he was scared, but it was weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, that attic was pretty freaky.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why?
He does get scared up in the attic due to some weather and the lights being out, and we flash back to Atreyu walking through the swamps. He's looking pretty beat down and sinking. And
depressed, yeah. It looks like the sadness is getting to him.
Yeah, it's finally starting to weigh down on him. But he does carry on. We see Gmork hard on his trail, and he almost gets him when all of a sudden some white thing swoops down and picks him up.
I was like, oh no, it's coming. Yeah, and you know what? I didn't like, my first impression of this obviously was bad, but then my second impression of this as a now more grown person was even worse. Because one of the first lines he says to poor Atreyu is, I like children.
Yeah.
Okay, Falcorn.
I like children.
Like
he does, and he's creepy face.
Creepy, yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, he wakes up and he's on Falcorn.
Yep,
sleeping on him, and then one of the first things he says to him is, "Oh, I like children." Nah, I'm peacing out. Like,
so Atreyu,
nothing good does.
He wakes up later, clean and warm, and sleeping on some giant white dog-looking thing.
That was another thing. He was his clothes were clean.
Yeah.
So that means they had to come off, get washed, and put back on him.
Yeah.
I have no time for this dang Falcorn thing. I was like, mm-mm.
Well, Falcor's clean too. Whatever. He does try to leave quietly, but wakes it up. And we find its name is Falcor, and he is a luck dragon. And he does like children.
I'm a luck dragon. You want some luck?
So Atreyu befriends Falkor, and Falkor tells him that he has taken him right around the corner to the Southern Oracle because Morla had told him it was 10,000 miles away. And that's what really, made Atreyu distraught. Well, Falkor flew him right to it, basically. So he tells him that he has luck on his side and that everything will work out, which I thought was nice. So, I mean, he's luck. He's happy.
You know what? If I was trying to take a child too, I would say nothing but positive things.
Well, I mean, he technically did take the child.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Atreyu then finds little people that have been helping him, and they live in the rock right there, basically, where they're staying.
Creepy goblin people.
And they're first described as they're calling each other a witch and a scientist. So the witch gives Atreyu some medicine with a bunch of yuck ingredients, man. I mean, it looks just horrible.
Yeah, see, this is the first time I tuned out.
Oh.
So I tuned back in, and I was in it long enough to see creepy goblin people.
Yeah.
And then I tuned out, and then when I tuned back in, they were on a rock looking through a microscope, or not a microscope, but a telescope.
Yeah.
So.
Well, their actual names are Ingiwook and Urgel, and they're there to help Atreyu.
It means life and peace in German.
Does it really?
No.
Oh gosh, look at.
I don't know.
I'm mad. That's it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We're done for the night. Jerk. Look at me, all big face. My ears went up like a dog and everything.
Really?
Really?
Wow. No.
So Ingiwook has a telescope that
Sorry.
I'm so mad. He has a telescope-like contraption set up that is pointing at the gates to the Southern Oracle. So you have to pass through these gates in order to make it to the oracles. And if the eye is open, they see your true self-worth. And if it's low, they blast you, which I thought was a little wrong. Just open up and tell me, you're not worthy.
Yeah.
But this gets demonstrated with a knight that tries to make it past the Sphinxes, the gate. He's all dressed all fancy and everything and so on the outside. So it's kind of a metaphor again, going with what you were saying earlier, to where, just on the outside, what you're putting out doesn't really show your true self-worth. So Atreyu decides that he is going to try his luck with the gates. And he looked at me making it just fine, and then the eyes open. He just
stops. Yeah, he's like, he gets nervous, and he's looking at the eyes. He's like, are you going to judge me? I would have kept going. I'd have been like, we're booking it through this.
He looks down, and he sees that knight all cooked out, and it makes him start to self-doubt himself.
That was kind of gross, because, I mean, it flashes on his face, and it's all
burnt and
crispy.
Yep. So the eyes do take a shot at him, but fortunately he jumps through and makes it just in time. And again, I think he was doing pretty good until the mask shot open, and so he starts self-doubt. The guy even starts telling him, don't doubt yourself, don't do that.
Because it really is a poison. I mean, you could be pure at heart, but as soon as you start to doubt yourself, I mean, that's gonna you're gonna start thinking of yourself as less than you are.
Yep,
and
the Sphinxes were like, nope, and they took a shot at him. So
they were also weird. The Sphinxes.
They were a little risque.
What was this movie rated?
Yeah, it was a kid's movie. I think PG.
Yeah, if I was in the theater with my kid, we're going home.
They're like the Sphinx. That's how the Sphinx is.
I don't care. My kid would be like, looking at me with peeked out of my eyes. I'd be like, no, we're going. I want my money back. So,
Ingiwook celebrates him making it and tells Falkor and Urgel. Urgel is giving a giant shot to Falkor while Ingiwook...
This is horrible.
Yeah, he's like, ah!
Take your vitamins.
But Ingiwook tells of how the next gate is the magic mirror gate that shows their true self. And that it's a lot of people run screaming from that gate. So even if they make it through the first one, the second one's going to be even worse.
Yeah, see, I thought this is where... because I'm still on the notion that somehow this kid's Bastien. It's him. And so I thought when he was approaching the mirror that it was going to show Bastien on the other side of it. And that's when he would have known, oh, I'm in control of this.
Okay.
But he's not. That's not what happens.
Right. Well, I mean, in a way.
See, at this point, I was actually pretty bored.
So, Atreyu is walking in a snowstorm when he comes to the second gate.
Yeah, I was like...
So, he stares into it and finds the reflection of Bastien. And Bastien, I guess, can see him back because he looks up and he kind of looks forward at him. So, I mean, in a way, he sees that it's him.
Right. I mean, but how are you, like, as Bastien reading it? It's not like he's, like, looking into something, like it's a magic mirror and he's watching it happen. He's reading it happen. So,
Right.
I don't know.
So, I mean, imagine that it's in the book. It says he looks up and he sees a young boy sitting there reading it that's named Bastien, and he's like, "Wait, what?"
I mean, yeah. You know what? I would have closed the book and gone home.
I'm telling you this.
Where's the dad at this point? You know?
No cares.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day, by the way. This is the shout out to the worst dad there.
Happy Father's Day, yay! And not for him.
Not for him, no. See, I think at this point, like, I was kind of like not paying as much attention as I was because it's kind of slowing down in a sense.
Yeah.
I think I would be more entertained if it was like some kind of magical book that Bastien was teleported into. And that, like, see, because to me that would have been more interesting because then, like, oh, he goes into the attic, opens the book, oh no, he's in the book, and nobody can find him.
Yeah.
I like kind of like if it was more like Where the Wild Things Are.
I gotcha.
Kind of be. I think I would have liked that more.
Well, I don't think I would have been that bothered if I saw a reflection of a kid reading a book. I mean,
if it said, like, if it was like you're reading the book, and it's like, yes, and then he looked into the mirror and saw James, you reading the book. What are you doing with your life?
Well, does it have to put me down too? Why can't the book just be one thing? Why does it have to put me down too, man? Jeez. So Bastien has no time for this and stands up and chucks the book.
I can't tell you, I've done that so many times.
You chucked a big old book like that?
Yeah. It, like, if there's like character death.
Yeah.
And I really like the character. I'll like either like I'll sense it coming, so I have to take a pause.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. And then I'll read it, and then I'm like, I don't want to read this anymore. I'm so done with this.
I've been in the room when something will happen, and when your mom, because she's a avid reader, whenever she reads, and something happens like that, and she's all, what? Like, she goes crazy on it, man. And
usually, if I'm home and something happens, I'll like put the book down and I'll come downstairs all angry. I'm like,
yeah, I've seen that too, where you've come down and been like,
this. They're just killing them. They're just killing them all.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, I have to live vicariously through you guys because, see, I can't read books because of the NeverEnding story.
Biscuit's pretty sad, so I understand.
Oh, Biscuit. Rip.
He doesn't die?
No, he doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
So
that'd be horrible. That book's like for 5-year-olds.
Bastien just pick up. Well, this movie's not for... I was 6.5 when I saw this the first time, and not only is the mother dead, but they kill the horse. I mean,
I don't really like horses, so...
Well, that's why I didn't read, because of this movie. Thanks a lot, NeverEnding Story. So Bastien does pick the book back up and continues reading. Atreyu walks through the magic mirror, which was pretty cool. That he just like and went through it. So now we're at the Southern Oracle, which are these giant glowing blue sphinxes,
which are also kind of sus.
Yeah. They tell Atreyu that they are the Southern Oracle and that they know how to save Fantasia. They tell him that the Empress must be given a new name, and it must be given by a human child.
Yeah, and at this point I was like, okay, I guess they are breaking some fourth walls to where it's like, he is kind of involved in the book, so it's kind of magical, so I was kind of like, alright, I'll give him that. But I still wish it was more like he's in the book doing all this.
Right. Well, they tell Atreyu that a human child can only be found beyond the boundaries of Fantasia. So Atreyu calls for Falkor, which I thought was really convenient. So when I'm watching it now, I was like, well, that's convenient. I guess he could have just flown him there, but whatever. And they try to fly beyond the boundaries of Fantasia.
Yeah, I know what's coming up. Got tears in my eyes.
Oh, no. So they fly fast and all over the place without finding the boundaries, but it's a cool montage scene of them flying through a bunch of lands like mountains and over the water and everything like that. We find that Bastien is reflecting of having a great name that he could give them. So that's, you're saying that he does actually, I remember he actually says, again, like I said, I have a hard time understanding him.
He pauses out of the book and he's like, man, sure wish that I was, Atreyu, and because I would name the Emperor, I would just name her after my mom. She had such a great name.
See, I have a great name that I could name, but I didn't know that it was after the mother.
Yeah, he said specifically after the mom.
Well, unfortunately, Atreyu and Falkor run into the nothing, and Atreyu gets bucked off of Falkor. So Atreyu awakens on the shores of the Sea of Possibilities, which I thought was a nice name for a sea. The Sea of Possibilities.
Maybe it'll
nice.
be possible that his horse comes back.
And calls. So Atreyu's calling for Falcor, but he's nowhere to be found. Which I was again like, hold up. He was nowhere near him when he was at the Southern Oracle, and he could hear him, but he can't hear him now, and he's not that far from him. But
to be honest, as well, when he fell off, he should have died. So
no,
he falls off into the ocean and then wakes on the beach. Yeah, he fell all small. Yeah, it looked like someone opened a green screen and just like dragged him down and shrunk him at the same time.
It was really good. I laughed really hard at that because I was like, oh no, this is not pleasing. I think whatever. I laughed. It was good. It doesn't ruin my memory of the movie. It just made it funny for me. So, Atreyu has also lost the Orin. So, then Atreyu runs into the Rockbiter, who tells a sad tale that he was not able to save the Snail Rider, the Snail, the Bat, or Nighthawk from really the Nothing. So I was like, wow, that's really dark. They didn't really have to go into that. I like that it made it sound like they were really good friends, though. Like, there's a part of the story that you're not seeing where these guys are still actively doing stuff together, right? And
rolling out, and then they lose. Then the Rockbiter loses them, and he's all depressed about it because and also when he was talking about these big hands weren't strong, that felt strangely familiar to me. Like if I had seen just that part before, but I couldn't remember.
You probably have.
But it was really sad. And I was like, not the snail.
Yep, the snail did. Then Nothing got him. So Atreyu feels that he has failed and the Nothing is starting to come closer. And the Rockbiter says he will just sit and let it take him away too. Which is really,
I felt really bad.
Really depressing.
Yeah, I felt bad for the Rockbiter.
And he felt so bad that it didn't take him last time, and now he's just going to let it take him.
I mean, I would feel really upset too if all my friends were gone and I couldn't have done, like, I tried, but it failed. I would have been like, well, just take me too.
But it's sad. It's sad. So now Atreyu is walking, trying to keep ahead of the Nothing, and not really knowing where to go. When he enters like this temple ruins that has pictures of all of his tail drawn on the wall, which I thought was cool.
I really like this as well. This gave me kind of like, I know we mentioned this in other a recent or not. I think in The Last Starfighter, but this gave me Zelda vibes.
Okay.
From where he's always like reborn and such, so he already like people already know that he has he's got a pathway. This is what happens, and he himself never really seems to know until he gets through it. But I believe in one of the games, and I'm no expert, but I believe in one of the games there is something like this, where it's kind of like, yes, here's the prophecy, you are the prophecy child, type deal, like Link is.
I gotcha.
I don't know.
I know that they always tell of the tale of the warrior, of the hero. Sorry, the hero.
Yes.
And this, that, and the other. So it definitely does give a little bit of vibe up, and it's also cool that it's got it all drawn out.
Yeah.
But
also, this goes back to what I was saying about how it seemed like it could have been just any kid in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that he's on the wall and everything now, but even, like, looking at the things that were on the walls and painted, it was very underwhelming. It was nothing that was super, like, it just didn't seem like he went through anything super, like, life-threatening.
Yeah.
Like,
what? He fell off
even
with lasers blasting at him? I mean...
Even that scene, though, all he did was have to run through it. That's like when you're playing that one, like, jump rope game where they get to jump into the jump ropes as it's already going and hope that you make it.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I've done it before.
Shoot, double dutch? I can't double dutch.
It's all only about the timing.
I like to just sit there, mama, your mama. I can sing the little song for somebody, but I can't. I don't know. Is that the song?
That's so sad that you were one of those kids. We hated those kids.
I tried to jump in like
Coward.
3 times, and the rope just caught my neck.
We'd go, coward. I also really liked Foursquare more. I was killer at the Force. Yeah, I was always king.
That's your blood. Get in the box 1 and then double dutch. Mama and your mama. And people are like, what? That's not part of the game. 4 corners. You have to call 4 corners.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I know. You just don't. Mama. Yeah, no. We also had a different one where it was more depressing because you'd be like, how many hops would you get if you get less than 5? You die.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was very straightforward. I think if you got more than 25, you were like a millionaire.
Oh, wow. I wish I had that.
Anyways.
So, Anyway, he's following the pictures, and he follows them till he finds one of the Gmork on the... And then lo and behold, it's friggin' Gmork right there.
This is also another one.
Scared the heck out of me.
I know this was like more of a like, oh, this is a scene where the villain's meeting the character type. I pieced out. I zoned out.
Oh man, this is like a great choice.
It was really, he was talking so much, and he's like, "You're gonna have to be my last meal." And then right after that, I was like, "What's going on with my phone?"
Wow, Gmork tells him about Fantasia and not having boundaries and how it's bound to the dreams of mankind.
Yes.
That was cool. Gmork also tells that Fantasia is dying because people are losing their hopes and dreams. And that's depressing and sad. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, well.
Gmork says he's been helping the Nothing by hunting the only one that could stop the Nothing, which is Atreyu. So Atreyu tells Gmork that he is Atreyu, and Gmork attacks him. But Atreyu stabs him out with something like a rock or something because he has no weapons and kills him. And that thing was huge. Huge. I don't even want to say I want to say huge.
Emphasis on the U.
Yeah. Huge. Huge. An interesting point about what Gmork says, and that say he works for the force behind the Nothing. It's not really gone into in the story, but I wonder what this reference is. Because that's what he says. He says, I work for the force behind the Nothing. And I thought that was because he's such a dark and evil force and something put him on a quest. What is it? What is the force behind the Nothing? Voldemort.
Yeah.
Okay. I
don't know.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know. Maybe there's like...
It's the dad. He's been wanting Bastien to get killed.
Oh my gosh. And part of me thought that the Empress was gonna be the mom.
Oh.
But anyways, I mean, with this movie has had a lot of metaphors in it, as we've already said so far.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of good learning parts. To me, that kind of makes me feel the vibe of like, you could have as much light as possible, but there will always be darkness. Always. I mean, you can't have so much light that there's no darkness. There's always going to be darkness. Just like there can be a bunch of darkness, but there's always light. You can't have either or. So maybe that's what it was. I mean, there's negativity.
So the story put it into motion itself because there had to be a protagonist? Is the protagonist
antagonist.
the bad, or is the antagonist?
Antagonist.
Okay, thank you.
Pro, anti.
Is the good.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, I hope so. I don't know. But, the negative people, so like he was saying that they were losing hope and everything in Fantasia.
Yeah.
So maybe he was kind of like the embodiment of that.
Okay.
Like everyone's hate and everything was that character. Gmork. I want to say Gamora every time.
It's not
that. Gmork. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe like the hate and everything was the darkness behind the Nothing.
Okay. Well, it's pretty cool.
Or maybe he was just insane. Who knows?
Oh, maybe he was just insane. We see Falkor dive into the water to retrieve the Orin in his little mouth. And Atreyu almost gets sucked up by the Nothing, but Falkor finds him just in time again. Which I thought was, nice. So now
he wasn't a child predator.
Now there's nothing left of Fantasia minus some bits here and there. And this was that part, I think I talked about it in Starfighter, kind of look at the part in Starfighter when the rocks were going. It was cool.
I don't know, it seemed kind of excessive to me that like there was literally nothing else already when he was just on an island surrounded by water.
It all got sucked away.
I mean, just excessive.
Yeah. So Atreyu asked the Orin to take them to the ivory tower if it still exists, and luckily it does.
Yeah, and then he goes and see the Empress, who doesn't look sick at all.
So Falkor
she looked like in the prime of her life.
Falkor lands at the ivory tower, and Atreyu talks to the childlike Empress to explain that he has failed. Healthily, she explains that he did not fail, that he did find the Earthling child. Now, they said Earthling child, which I thought was like, wait a minute, before I thought it was human child. And I'm wondering what it is in the book, because here they said Earthling child, and I wanted to make a point of saying it either way.
This kind of gave me, what's Horton Hears a Who, You have that civilization on one like flower, I believe it's like a dandelion.
Yeah, it's like on the
that
head
you
of a
don't know
flower.
about. And then outside of that, they find out that there's more to life, and there's like a bunch of things. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
But
All
also, it's a book, so
right. And also, I mean, it's a book. But she tells him that the Earthling child has been on his journey the whole time with him. As she's saying this, Bastien is realizing that she's talking about him.
He goes, "What?"
The whole time, the ivory tower is starting to fall apart. And Bastien is having a real hard time accepting this.
I would have that too. I don't know what I would do, to be honest.
If, like, a book started calling you, talking about you specifically?
Yeah, I mean, if it was started, like, naming me, like, it was like, you're reading the book right now when he's here, I would be like, oh no, God, what did I get myself into? My dad's gonna kill me.
Nice. Well, the Empress begs him, please, give her a name. So he does toughen up and yells the name out of the window.
Yeah, why
into
did
the
he go
night.
to the window?
He had to yell. He had to make it dramatic, and he
guess.
yells,
Why wouldn't you want to yell it into the book?
Moonchild.
Moonchild?
Moonchild. That's the name. Moonchild! Yep. And everything goes dark.
Yeah. It's so weird to
So
me
her
that
name
his
was
dad
Moonchild.
is so stuck up, and you're gonna marry someone named Moonchild?
Opposites attract. The
You
dad
just said toxic.
We don't know. We don't know how the dad is or was. We just know how he is now after the death of his wife. So maybe when she went, she just sucked the life out of everything. Boom. No.
Oh, I guess in like the Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Have you seen that yet?
No.
I know you have. Okay. Well, Peter's dad, or Quill's dad, Peter Quill, he actually tells him, like, he gives a nickname for his mom before, like, when they were together before she got the cancer and everything. Yeah. And it's something like my Star Girl or something like that. So maybe it was more of a nickname. Like, maybe it wasn't her actual name. Like, maybe it wasn't actually Moonchild. It was just something like she was just like obsessed with the star. I read a book where her name, the book was called Stargirl.
Okay.
And when I had to read this in the 7th grade, and it really affected me because this girl comes out of nowhere into this town and pretty much changes everyone's point of view. And then she like helps the other team in a football game, and so everyone turns against her because, like, why would you help the other school's team?
Oh.
And she gets really depressed and leaves. But that wasn't her real name. It was just, she named herself Stargirl. She was like, well, I'm one with the stars type deal. So maybe this is the same type beat where I'm Moonchild. I come from the, I believe in the moon and the blah, blah, blah.
Or maybe it's like, what's that Steven Universe?
Oh, where they're actually moon people.
Where they're actual moon people. We'll say it's that.
I would like that a lot less.
Yeah. So everything has gone dark, like I said. And we find Bastien is actually talking to the Empress now, holding one speck of sand left of Fantasia. With it, Bastien is able to rebuild Fantasia within himself.
See, I thought he had one wish, and that wish was the grain of sand. So I was like, oh man, well, I'd wish for my mom back if she was dead. Or the racing snail.
Well, he takes the grain of sand.
And he's like, can I have a bunch of wishes?
Yeah, and she said, yeah, as much as you want. And he starts to wish. His first wish is to do what?
Yeah, I thought, mom, obviously, bring my mom back.
Yeah.
But no, it's to ride
Falcor.
Child predator.
No,
and apparently he becomes like God.
Riding Falcor is exactly what I would have done as well.
That's not what I would have done.
Is a
snail.
He basically takes the same exact flight that Atreyu did when they were looking for the border of Fantasia. He goes through all the different lands and flies around and all that. Yeah.
I was just so confused because he ends up back in that city.
Right.
He's chasing after the 3 bullies.
Yep.
Wow. How did the book's obviously the book's like absolutely magical at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, why? Like, he literally does become like God because he has all these infinite wishes. He can do whatever he wants. Right. Is Fantasia now Earth?
It's within him. That's what he said.
That's not fair.
Well, we do find that all our favorite characters are back, including Artex, so that's a relief. Thank God. I
was more concerned about the snail.
Thank Bastien.
Thank Bastien. Yeah, literally.
So then Bastien's second wish, or he wishes for Falkor to go into the real world with him while he rides him, and they chase the 3 bully kids into the trash, which was a hoorah moment.
Well, let me ask you this, because
Yeah.
the movie ends shortly after that.
Yep.
Would you stay in Earth, or would you stay in Fantasia?
Me personally, I would have stayed in Fantasia.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So-
would have too.
But the narrator says, we're narrated out, and Bastien made many other wishes and had many other adventures before returning to the ordinary world. But that is another story, is what he says. So he clearly was there for a long time before returning to the ordinary world.
I think this is kind of like in like Coraline, where she has the other mother and the other father that
With the button eyes?
yeah, but they're much better to her. They're much nicer. In a tricking way, of course, but like in that sense, this kind of makes me think of that, because while he has a father who I guess loves him, he's not enjoying his home life. He's not enjoying school.
No.
He's not having a good time. So I would have stayed in Fantasia.
Right.
I would not have gone back. I would have gone back for Christmases, maybe.
See,
For holidays.
some gifts and maybe a Big Mac. And then,
If I come up to you and I'm like, I'm sorry, Dad, I gotta go because these people I'm like a god over there.
Right.
You know, I can't be staying over here in the Earth world. I gotta go back into this book. If my kid came up to me like that, I'd be like, well, I guess we gotta take you to the old white room.
Right.
Lock you up.
Right.
Because you are crazy.
Going into your...
You got problems. Because, I'd be afraid it's turned into, like, Paranormal Activity, you know. Be like, oh, she's possessed. She's talking to ghost.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm thinking.
So, what are your overall thoughts of the film and the experience?
So, it was an interesting movie. See, finishing the movie, I was kind of conflicted. Because it was interesting in the beginning, and mostly in the middle, but it was kind of slow at the end of it.
Okay.
And the ending didn't do it for me.
It just kind of ended on a oomph?
Because if it had ended and he was like he was reading the book and Fantasia was back to normal, and it wasn't necessarily like he was talking to the Empress and it was like, oh, you're our last hope now, you have to rebuild it. Like she was if she was talking to Atreyu and he had to rebuild it because Atreyu was the one who went through all of it, then maybe that would have been better for me. And like Bastien just reads on to check into how it's going. Like the treadmill kind of deal.
But Atreyu was him. That's why when you see the inner thing, Atreyu was Bastien.
It seemed more like he was like a vessel for him, not necessarily he was him.
Right. Okay.
So to me, even in that same type thing, like even if it was still Atreyu making all the decisions because like through what Bastien wanted, that I would have liked that more. But the fact that Bastien gets to ride freaking Falkor through the city to chase people, I didn't like that. How do you explain that to people? Sorry, we have a big dragon coming through, killing these kids. I don't know. I did it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
For the most part. So.
How many moves do you give it?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 isn't bad. That means you enjoyed it more than you didn't. So.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take that for the NeverEnding story. I give it. It's another 4 for me. Mm-hmm. It's not my absolute most favorite, but it really had an impact on my childhood. It's one, again, when I thought about starting this podcast and doing all of this, it's one of the first movies that we've always talked about doing. It just didn't make the first.
You wanted this one to be the first one we did.
Yes. Initially, this was going to be the first one. I told you I
didn't want to do this one first.
Yep. So, and then we just had a list, and that's just how it happened. But yep.
I like the way we've been doing them, though, because I like being able to reference ones we've already done and compare them. I feel like if we had done them in a different order, then it would have been. It would have been different. Yeah, because, this overall gave me Labyrinth vibes, where, he goes into this other world and everything's mystical and crazy. This was like that movie to me, and that's how I compared it. And if we hadn't watched that one first, then I would have compared Labyrinth to this movie, and it wouldn't have been the same comparison.
I got you. That makes sense.
But, I really did like this movie.
I'm glad that you really liked it. That's good.
Not a favorite. Is your 5 out of 5 going to be Jumanji?
Oh.
I meant to tell you.
I can't stand Jumanji.
I was watching this movie. I don't like Jumanji either. It's really dumb. There is a movie that I believe is 80s. I'm not positive. But there's these 2 boys, and I believe they have a babysitter. And it's kind of like... They're playing a board game, I think. But they get put into like space, and the babysitter
That's
gets
called
frozen.
Zathura.
Yeah, is that 80s?
No.
Dang.
No.
What is it? 2000s?
Yeah, I think
Really?
it came out after you were born. Zathura, if you want to look it up real fast while
How do you spell that?
Zathura. It was branded as being from the makers of Jumanji. It was not so much a sequel, but it was 2005.
2005.
Yeah.
See, this was a movie to me that was like if I was in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's what this seemed like to me, because the graphics were not that good.
Oh.
But like at the time, it was amazing to me. And I can't remember much from this movie, just certain parts of it. I really liked this
the
movie.
house is all of a sudden out in space.
Yeah.
And it's they have all kinds of stuff, and then they have help show up, and then it's all weird.
Yes.
It was a weird movie.
I also wanted to mention that in the last episode we did, I was talking about the banana scene, and that actually was in. Is that part 2?
No, I think it's part 3. Honey, we shrunk ourselves.
Yeah, so that was a part of one of the movies.
And we want to thank our Patreon member Jody
for pointing
Sullivan
that out.
for pointing that out for us. Thank you so much. We appreciate.
Does she like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Is she a fan?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
I just love to ask.
But she's obviously seen it and seen it enough to know what it was, where I haven't. So
I gave a pretty not a good explanation of what I was remembering either. So
yeah, and she was on it.
Yeah.
Sick.
Anyways, favorite character?
My favorite character, is Atreyu, because
the horse. No, sorry, my bad.
Not Artex. Atreyu.
I don't know what. My brain just thought that was what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
Why Atreyu?
I just liked the character. Initially, I thought it was Alyssa Milano.
I thought it was
when I was a kid, and
what's his name from?
It's not
from who played the guy in Legend? I can't think of the name's completely slipping. Who played in Legend?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. I thought it was like young Tom Cruise.
Friggin' Tom Cruise. No, it's
Cruise
not
with long
Tom
hair.
Cruise. No. His name is actually Noah Hathaway.
Yeah, no, he wasn't in anything else really.
Not really,
except for Frankenweenie, of course.
No. That's Bastien.
That's what. Sorry.
Yeah, Noah Hathaway plays.
I'm all
Atreyu.
over the place.
I gotcha.
I want to say my favorite character.
Well, who is your favorite character? Is it?
To no surprise, the racing snail.
The racing snail.
The racing snail was my favorite.
Who gets bonked on the head?
So yeah, and I was like, oh gosh, my heart hurt when he got bonked on the head. I want a miniature racing snail.
All right.
If I want someone to do that.
What would you name it? Rodney?
Probably Jimothy.
Jim, of course.
That's what
They're
I
all
name
named
it. That's what I name everything.
All right.
Who was your least favorite character?
My least favorite character is Bastien's dad, because
that's fair.
He does not give a good representation of father. If you're going to be hard on the kid, be hard on the kid. If you're going to be nice to the kid, be nice to the kid. Don't come at me with, well, mom just died, and I guess we have to get back to work, so it's time for you to grow up and stop being such a little pain. I mean, no. Yeah. If you clearly see that your kid's hurting and having problems, maybe you do maybe you put him in some therapy. Maybe you get him a friend. Maybe you do something
You would think so.
But
that seems to slip some people's minds. My least favorite character was Merla. I didn't like the turtle. It gave me that swamp girls vibe from Labyrinth. The swamp witch.
I can't think of her name. Yeah, I think it started with an M2, Maggie or something. I can't.
Maggie, I think that sounds that sounds right. But anyways, I didn't like Merla. Yeah. No, and the fact that she didn't care. I mean, I guess she's a turtle and really old and has seen everything and wise, and she just wanted to die. But I didn't like her. She creeped me out. Falcor was a close second.
I thought you were going to say Falcor. So.
Favorite scene.
Man, you're hitting me with all kinds of favorites.
That's what I mean. We say this every time.
I know. My favorite scene is when Bastien's riding him back and going, yeah, and chasing the kids because of Family Guy, and the scene's been done with other cartoons and such like that, and it's always funny. And I think the kids jumping in the trash can is funny. I just like that scene. So that, and then when he's talking to Gmork, because Gmork just scares the heck out of me. So.
Well, that's lame. How about Mine was when the racing snail takes off.
Oh.
Pew!
And the little dust is
Okay,
left
I know
behind
they
them.
can't all be racing snail, but it was funny.
Right. We're going to do the next movie and you're going to be like, my favorite character was the racing snail.
Is he
Made
in
guest appearance. No. No. All right. So some trivia.
Yes.
All right. So to kick it off, we're going to give some fun facts about Noah Hathaway, again, who played Atreyu. So first, he almost lost an eye in the fight against Gmork. One of the claws poked him in the face and almost took his eye out. He also had the wind knocked out of him by the giant robot Gmork so bad when he ran into him that they only did a one scene take, basically, because they were just worried about his safety.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez.
The second about him is that while learning to ride a horse, he was thrown off and stepped on.
That's why I don't like horses.
He was also almost drowned in the swamp of sadness due to his foot getting caught on the elevator when they were like lowering the horse and everything like that. He was actually unconscious when they pulled him out. So yeah, he almost bit it.
Dang, this kid's going through it.
Third, they were going to paint him green like he was in the book. However, he looked really bad. He looked like fungi, I think is what they said. So they scrapped that idea. So 3 fun facts about him.
Those aren't really fun.
No.
Except for the green one.
Fourth, he now owns and operates a tattoo parlor in Los Angeles, California with his wife. So you could be tattooed by Atreyu. Yeah, I'm not going all the way out to California for that.
I wouldn't either.
So at the time that this film was made, it was the most expensive film that was ever made in Germany. You can actually ride Falkor on location in the Bavaria Filmplatz in Munich, Germany.
I'm gonna have to.
I would love to. Oh my God. They would never get me off. I would just be sitting on with my arm up in the air.
They'd be like, great.
Can you get off me, please? No!
It's all sticky and
I don't
gross.
care. Great.
Stinks like cheese.
Yeah.
Stinks like children.
The original Orin for the film hangs in an enclosed glass case display in Steven Spielberg's office. I thought that's pretty cool.
Sure.
The movie only covers the first half of the original novel by Michael Ende.
Oh.
Yep.
Gosh, there's more?
Yep.
What happens afterwards?
I'm not sure.
Oh, God.
The point at which the movie ends is only halfway through the book.
You gotta read it?
So, well, I need to find out if part 2 is the second half of the book. I don't think it is because it's a different story.
Well, I mean, would you read the
really
rest of the
interesting.
book?
Would I read it? Well, I can't read. I can't read anymore. I told you, never ending story I've written it for. I don't want to control people's lives, so I can't do it. Nope.
What if it was made out of pictures?
Maybe Pigs in Hiding. That's it for me.
Pigs in Hiding.
And of course, the theme song was sung by Lemol, who was the lead singer of the pop band Kajagoogoo. And that's why the song did really well. When it came out, it was crazy. You couldn't listen to the radio without it coming on every 2 seconds. So, I didn't put it in here, but there were some scenes that were cut out that are in the book. They were parts of the book. They didn't film them.
This movie was almost 2 hours, so
it was a long movie, but they didn't. It doesn't seem like it to me.
No, well,
but they there's a part where when Atreyu saves Falkor, he actually rescues him from like this swarm of wasps that forms into the shape of a spider and is attacking him.
That's awful. See, I would have not liked that.
They didn't have CGI and stuff like that back then, so because of restrictions on what they could do, they didn't film that part. But that's why when she's giving him medication, that's why that part is like that, because he was all stung up.
I thought she was giving him like vitamins.
No.
Well.
And I can't remember what the second scene was. What did you have?
There was a BuzzFeed quiz for this.
You got
crying. I got Bastien.
Bastien.
As it says, you have a huge imagination and love seeing the world from different perceptions. Which, yes.
That's fun.
You never really loved school, but you didn't hate it either. Also true. You just felt like there were more important things in life. You're very sympathetic and can easily relate to other people. Overall, you're pretty awesome. Keep on drawing those unicorns.
Fair.
So I don't like drawing horses, but I understand. I will put the link into this.
Cool.
Into our group on Facebook.
Yeah, see right there?
Yeah, I see what it is.
All right. So while you're doing that, do you have
Yeah, that was it for me.
you have anything else?
No, that's all for me.
All right. All right. And with that, we'll wrap it up for tonight. I do want to thank everybody for stopping by and listening to the 9th episode. We deeply, not dipply, we deeply appreciate it more than you could imagine. And of course, the best way to say you love us is to give us that 5-star review on iTunes. Because we have a demographic all over the place, want to make sure that you know that once you give one review, that's good enough. If you give another one, it erases your old one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I know that some people have been doing them like that. So just so you know, and I don't mind if you want to keep giving updated reviews, go ahead. But it's just going to keep erasing your old one. So the best way to do it is if you want to email us at the Yesteryear Podcast at gmail.com and say, hey, great job. Or if you want to just post it in the Facebook group, that's also fair. Whatever you want to do, we just love to hear back from everybody. You can email us at the Yesteryear Podcast at gmail.com. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/yesteryearpcast. Instagram is instagram.com/yesteryear podcast. Facebook is facebook.com/yesteryear podcast. We do have a group called the Truffle Shufflers. Our secret question is the host name, which is James and Beth. Our website is yesteryearpodcast.buzzsprout.com. Our Patreon, if you'd like to join it, or support us in a financial way, I guess you'd say, is patreon.com/the nostalgia group. We do have a new Patreon this week, April Batan. We appreciate you joining us. We will get you a sticker out if you send us your address via email. Send it to the Yesteryear Podcast at gmail.com. We don't share information or do anything creepy like that. We might send you thank you letters at some point in time, but we definitely want to get you a sticker out. So make sure you send us that. And as always, shout out to Greg Reverend for doing our music for the shows. And anything else?
Nope, that's all.
All right. With that, we will say we love you and say goodnight, Beth.
Good night.